Hello, welcome to today's webinar on MRSC services. I'm Melanie Harding. I've been the Executive Director of MRSC. I'm here today with Steve Hawley, our Research and Communications Analyst. Today, we're happy to have this time with you to go through what services that you can access through MRSC. And specifically today, we're going to emphasize the research and information services. So we'll only be touching very briefly on our valuable rosters program. Just so you know, if you disconnect from the webinar, please know that it's being recorded and you can access that at any time. Sharing a little bit more about us as presenters today. I've been the director of MRSC since October of 2025. Before taking on this role, I had the pleasure of being an MRSC customer. So worked in local government in Washington State for close to 20 years. So I have firsthand experience on how valuable these services can really be and how much it means to have trusted nonpartisan research and information. Steve does a fantastic job as MRSC's research and communications analyst, and he's been with MRSC for more than 10 years. What I appreciate is over the course of that decade, he continues looking for ways to make our services and our website even better, and he'll be showing some of the powerful tools that we have available to you today. A couple housekeeping items before we jump in. So here are some tips for using the Zoom webinar platform. If you have either content-related or technical questions at any time during the webinar, you can use the Q&A feature, which is that button at the bottom of your screen. We do have time set aside that we hope to answer questions that you have throughout the webinar today. If you see that your question has already been asked, you can click that thumbs up button to upvote the question from fellow attendees if you'd like to see that answered as well. If you want to download the presentation slides, you can find those by pressing the chat button at the bottom of your screen, but typing in the chat has been disabled. So again, please submit any questions that you have through that Q&A function. To adjust your audio today, including switching to audio on your phone if necessary, there is that audio settings button at the bottom left of your screen. So when switching to phone, you'll see a list of dial-in numbers, and we recommend calling the highest number on that list or whichever phone number is closest to your area. Closed captioning is also available by pressing the CC button at the bottom of your screen if you'd like, and you can either show subtitles or view the full transcript. Most importantly, probably, if you have any need for technical support during the webinar today, you can call our MRSC training staff at the number on the screen, 206-625-1300, extension 19. So look at our agenda for today. The core of the presentation will be a live demo of tools on our website. And if you are here to learn more about MRSC rosters, again, we'll be touching on that briefly, but we have great information on mrscrosters.org. So you can always visit that. I see we do have a couple of folks that are experiencing some feedback or some echoes, so we'll work on continuing to try and troubleshoot that on our end, and apologies for anyone who is experiencing that. So for anyone here that's unfamiliar with MRSC, we're a nonprofit organization that's really proud to help local governments across Washington State better serve their communities. And we do that by providing legal and policy guidance on many topics. You'll see that many of the services we offer, apologies. So you'll see that many of the services we offer listed here on this slide. We'll be talking about each of those during the webinar today. And then before we do, just as mentioned, we are really here to serve you so that you have the resources that you need to carry out the goals of your local government and serve your community. So with that, we'd like to learn more about who's here. So we have our first poll of the day. If you'd like to jump in, let us know. Are you here from a city or town? Here from a county, special purpose district, proud to serve a lot of those, or for some other, from some other type of agency. Give a moment for those answers to come in. I'm still seeing quite a few. Okay, we're just a couple last seconds for any final answers. Oh, and a couple more coming in. Thank you. All right, I'm going to share those results. So we have a great mix of agencies here with us today. Not only a good number of cities and towns and counties, but lots of special purpose districts. So whether with a fire district, parks district, school district, we're happy to have you on board today. All right. So, a little bit more about what we do and do not do. So, many of you know that we strive to be a source of timely, trusted, and objective information. You might not know that we've been doing this for more than 90 years. So, many decades of working to be responsive to your needs. Obviously, with the internet, there are countless sources of information out there, but I like to think that ours are unique for at least three reasons. The first and foremost, they're curated. So the team at MRSC does the work to comb through literally thousands of documents and distill out examples that'll work for you and be the best ones to serve you. We keep those materials well organized on our website, and unlike any answers that you might get through AI, you can be confident that answers that you find through MRSC are hallucination free. Number two, our resources are local. So, especially because we specifically serve Washington State, everything on our website was developed within the context of Washington State laws and best practices. So, you're going to find things that you can actually use and not hitting like, oh, this actually is not allowed under state constitution, those sorts of things. And third, we're independent. We really take a lot of pride into being like a nonpartisan, neutral resource. So you can trust that our attorneys and policy staff do not take sides on issues or disputes. And we just welcome and really want to answer your questions. As a reminder, though, MRSC does not provide legal representation or serve as legal counsel. If you've ever reached out to us, you may have gotten a, like, here's what we know, here's what we can tell you, but please be sure you're checking in with your legal advisor as well. A bonus thing about what I think is fun about MRSC is we really love to help you show off your good work. So we appreciate it when you send us your government's work products that you're proud of, so that we can make those available as part of our best practices and great examples to others around the state. Here you'll see a little bit of information about, MRSC services in 2025. And I think the primary takeaway here is our services are very popular. We're grateful that people take advantage of the services that we provide. We strive to serve you with excellence. I hope, like, if you haven't already before this webinar, that you'll join the thousands of others across Washington State who are using our resources and taking advantage of our resources to make your job easier. And one of the services we'll be talking about today that you see there, 3,800 questions came in through, is our Ask MRSC service. So Ask MRSC is really one of our premier and most highly rated services. Super easy to use. So if you work for a city, county, or the state, you're automatically eligible to use this service. And as you can see on the slide, hundreds of special purpose districts are also eligible through contracts that we have with partners. So if you have any questions about, especially given the number of special purpose districts we have on the webinar today, if you have any question about whether or not you're eligible for services, you can go to the Ask MRSC section of our website that Steve will show you here in a bit and check for your agency listing there. If you're listed and eligible, there's no charge to you for using the Ask MRSC services. So I just want to repeat that again, because when I was a customer, I felt like this is too good to be true, but there really is no charge to you for using the Ask MRSC service. Before joining MRSC, I had the honor of supporting policy development in a couple jurisdictions. And whether this topic was like restaurant grease interceptors, sidewalk protection, sister city programs, or even model policies for temporary homeless shelters, I always knew that I could click the Ask MRSC button to get assistance on those or any topics. Super helpful. And this brings us to our second poll today. We'll try and get a sense of who on our webinar today is maybe using these services already. And if not, we're glad that you're here and learning about them now. Give a second for those answers to come in. Awesome. Still seeing a lot of good answers coming in, so I'm going to keep this open just a second or two longer. All right, a final call to click your answer in there if you haven't already, but we've got some strong participation. All right. And I love to see that 59% or almost two-thirds of the folks on the webinar today have not used the Ask MRSC service. So hopefully, even though we're just a few minutes into the webinar, you already have a helpful takeaway that will, be a good use of your time here. Also love seeing that we do have 36% of folks who have reached out through that Ask MRSC service. So glad we have a mix of folks. So here you can see, and on the web page, right, that top right circled in red, that is that we have a button right there that makes it so easy and convenient to submit a question or request information. So you can also, call us by phone. And sometimes there's no substitute for that, right? Like sometimes a topic might be brand new to you. We're all called to wear a lot of hats in local government. So maybe it's something you've never explored before, and you're actually not sure what questions you need to be asking yet. You can pick up the phone and call MRSC, and we can work with you to just try to get you well established in the topic that you're exploring and make sure you get the assistance that you need. Um, some of you may have heard from our legal or policy consultants, and our consultants include really incredible attorneys and policy experts with a wide range of expertise that we do hope that you'll get to know through the Ask MRSC service. And when you ask MRSC, you'll get prompt, thorough responses to have some samples up here, right? But questions of law, questions that could be related to finance, like B&O taxes owed by a city's utility, policy and land use, personnel. So these are just a few examples of how far-ranging those topics can be through the Ask MRSC service. If for some reason we don't have an answer to your question, we will try to direct you to the person who does, if there's maybe a state agency or another regulatory body you should be talking with. So another service we're really excited to provide is training. Our training is primarily provided through frequent webinars like the one you're in today, but we do also offer periodic in-person trainings across Washington state. They're tailored to government staff, making them really relevant and offering pragmatic tools that you can use. So we have an incredibly popular finance bootcamp series, for example. And we will be previewing some of our upcoming trainings at the end of the presentation, but we have quite a few posted online right now that you can sign up for. You can access the registration for those and see those other offerings on the training page on our website. If you missed a previous training, we do have quite a few on-demand webinars that are available at your convenience. Some of those offer professional credits for ongoing certifications, if that's something that's of interest to you. And in particular, I'll shout out just a couple. We have some great ones on AI and local government. There's one that kind of does a preview of a bunch of different AI tools that are available to local government. And we have a really popular one on like work-life harmony, just to name a couple. MRSC is also proud to have the MRSC Insights blog where we publish our own content. So if you're not already a subscriber to this is a great place where you can see timely articles when there's new court decisions, laws that have been passed by the legislature, or emerging technologies that impact your workplace. So it also shares like local government news from across the state. So really, well, I'm getting into the e-newsletter. Let's get to that next slide. So the e-newsletter, as mentioned, does also have that links to relevant news articles, as well as those featured MRSC Insight blogs. And just, it's a great resource that comes directly to you in your inbox so you can stay up to date on the latest and greatest. As mentioned, we really do have a valuable service and rosters, and it is the official statewide directory that connects businesses and public agencies for small public works projects, consulting opportunities, and goods and services. So MRSC has a small works roster manual that reflects requirements for the use of the roster, as well as a very popular online bidding platform for local governments as well. So you can see that mrscrosters.org website here on this slide. Would really encourage you to check that out if you're not already engaged in rosters. And if you prefer to use social media to stay connected, see those articles and those other offerings that we have, you can also follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. And with that, I'm very excited to turn things over to Steve Hawley, who's going to show you how to easily find all the information and answers that you need on our website.
Great, thank you, Melanie. So our website contains just a ton of information that is related to local governments, again, with a focus here on Washington State. So, um, we've got all sorts of web pages, we've got databases, we've got some of the resources that Melanie has mentioned, and more. I'm actually in just a minute here going to switch out of the slides and take you to a live tour of our website. But before we do that, just kind of want to get a quick idea of how many people out there are already familiar with our website. So have you used MRSC's website recently? Yes, often, yes, occasionally, or no? All right, a lot of responses coming in. We'll keep it open for a few more seconds here. All right. So again, a good mix here. So we've got 20% saying that you've used it often, a little over half saying that you use it occasionally, and another quarter saying that you have not used MRSC's website. So my hope from this is that regardless of which of these categories you fall into, even if you've used our website often, I hope that you still learn something new here that you didn't know about, because again, there's just so much information and such a variety of resources that are at your fingertips. So with that, I am going to switch over to our website. So this is our homepage, mrsc.org, and you can see some of the featured resources on here. So this blue box always displays the most recent blog post that was published. So this is one from just this week on benefits of metropolitan park districts. You have some other featured resources, upcoming trainings, some of these news articles that Melanie was mentioning, although again, those do go out in our e-newsletter as well. We have questions here that are featured from our Ask MRSC archives. So these are examples of questions that people have asked recently and that other people might be interested in knowing the answer to. I do want to stress that with these Ask MRSC archives questions, we do anonymize the results. So we're not saying like, oh, this is a question that was asked by so and so at such and such jurisdiction. We anonymize them, we edit them a little bit, but we're trying to kind of share valuable information where we think other people are going to have those same questions as well. Now, I'll start by showing you the Ask MRSC service that Melanie mentioned. So again, that's that green button up here, and just give you an idea of what that looks like. So if you have a question about eligibility, there is a drop-down menu here that describes which jurisdictions are eligible. So again, that's all cities, towns, counties. That includes state government agencies, hundreds and hundreds of special purpose districts, although that gets a little, more complicated because it depends on our specific contractual arrangements. And then other partner organizations that we work with, such as the Association of Washington Cities, the various county associations, and other groups like that. So it gives you a little idea of eligibility. And then the first question is just what type of government agency do you work for? So city or town, county, special purpose district or contracted association, or a Washington state agency. Now, sometimes you do get some gray areas here. And so if you're not 100% sure, there is this little question mark icon. You can hover over it and it will give you a little more information about what do we mean when we're talking about a city or a town. So, for example, one of those gray areas is fire departments. You have some fire departments that are part of the city government, and they are overseen by the city fire chief. And then you have other ones that are called fire departments, but they're actually under state law. They are fire protection districts that are governed by elected fire commissioners. So they might both be called fire departments, but they might be two different types of government agency. So just to give you an idea of kind of what that looks like. So if you select city or town, there's a lot of them, 281. And so you select the first letter of the city or town. I'm just going to choose one at random here. We'll select Maple Valley here. So you select your city or town name. Again, as Melanie mentioned, there is an option to call if you want to. The agency name is selected here. You fill out your contact information. You fill out, there's a button here for what's the general category of your question. So, is it a finance question? Is it a legal question? Planning, procurement, etc. This is just to try to help us direct your question to the right person right off the bat. But if you're not entirely sure, that's okay too. And there is a button here for unsure. So even if you're not entirely sure, or even if you click the wrong button or whatever, we'll still make sure that it gets to the right person. And then here is where you get to enter your actual question. And then one of the other questions that we will ask you is how soon would you like an answer? Because sometimes you may have a council meeting tonight and you need the answer like right now. Other times you might need it within a few business days. Sometimes you might be working on something that's kind of a lower priority or a longer term project and might not need the answer for a few weeks. So this helps us prioritize the responses. If you do select, so if you needed something for tonight's council meeting, for instance, if you select ASAP, which is 2 business days or less, we will ask you, okay, what specifically is the deadline that we're working with here? And then we do highly encourage you that if you need a response by the end of the day today, to please call us, and that will help us answer your question as quickly as possible. So you tell us you're a real life person, not a robot, and then you submit your question, and that is that. So I'm going to go back here. It's similar if you are for a county. So there's fewer counties, so you can just select your county right off the bat here. I do want to mention, and we list it here, we try to be very open and upfront about that for county legal questions specifically. So this is only for counties, and it only applies to legal questions for counties. There is a state law that requires us to send a copy of our response to the county prosecutor. So there's a link to that state law. That is not something MRSC has any control over, but we also want to avoid any unpleasant surprises and someone being like, wait, why did you include the prosecutor on this? That's the reason why. And then for special purpose districts, since again, there are hundreds and hundreds of special districts, it gets a little more complicated. So we're adding some every year. You get agencies that change their names, that, fire districts might merge together, those sorts of things. You get, new agencies being formed. So we have the search bar, and it gives you a little bit of information here, and some examples, but I'll type in. I'll do like let's say you work for a public hospital district. Let's say you work for Olympic Medical Center. You can type in Olympic, and then already you don't even need to type in the whole name of the agency. You can see the drop-down menu here. You have Olympic Medical Center. You can also see there are a number of special purpose districts that have more than one name. So you may have your legal name, which in this case, Clallam County Public Hospital District Number 2. You also have your trade name or your DBA name, doing business as, which is Olympic Medical Center in this case. So whenever that happens, we try to include both names, just to try to cast as wide a net as possible, so that if you start typing Olympic Medical Center, you're going to get what you're looking for. If you start typing Clallam County, you're going to see it in the list of results. If you start typing in Public Hospital District, you'll see that. So that is how you do that. And then we also have a button for Washington State Agency. That would be things like the state legislature, Department of Commerce, state auditor's office, things of that nature. So going back to the homepage, there are two basic ways that you can look for information on the MRSC website, and I'll show you both of them. We have a search bar up here at the top of every page on our website, and then we also have our main navigation menu where you can browse for information. So I'm going to start with a search bar. So if you are looking for something specific, this is a great place to start. So I'm going to type in just a fairly basic term here. Public records. This is a pretty common search term and topic, as you can probably imagine. So you hit go, and here you see the search results on the MRSC that match public records. Now, hopefully, you're going to find what you're looking for, and you can get more specific with the searches. But hopefully, you'll find what you're looking for at or near the top of the menu here. So you can see or the search results rather. So you can see here we have a link to the Explore Topics section specifically on public records and PRA that has all of our topic pages related to that. You can see we have resources on the Public Records Act basics, Public Records Act court decisions, and the list goes on. You can also see we have a lot of results here. This is a big topic area. We have 871 search results that mention somewhere in there public records. And so if you aren't finding immediately what you're looking for, or you want to look for a very specific resource or a type of document, you always have the option to refine your results over here on the right-hand side. And so this allows you to select a specific document type, whether that's topic pages, and you can see how many of them. So 230 topic pages. We've got 459 blog posts, 6 publications, 92 sample documents, etc. And so if you're not entirely sure what these resources are, and I'll tell you more about them here, but there's again a question mark icon here. You can hover over that, and that will tell you that topic pages are web pages containing legal guidance, practice tips, examples, and more. Blog posts are short articles on new legislation, court decisions, emerging issues, and best practices. Publications are downloadable PDF manuals that provide detailed guidance on key topics. So let's say that you are looking for the publications that we have, or maybe you already know that we have a Public Records Act publication and you're looking to find it again. You can click on Publications here. And with one click, we have gone from, I think it was 871 search results down to 6 search results. And you can see here our Public Records Act publication for cities, counties, and special purpose districts. I'll click on this and show you. So this is the publication. It'll tell you at the beginning when the most recent time was that it was updated. So in this case, December of 2025. Almost all of our publications at this point have a revision history. So this will tell you when it was most recently updated, and not just when, but also what changed. So in this particular case, we only list one update, which is December 2025. And the reason for that is because we redid the entire document. So any of the previous revisions don't really matter. If you're looking to make sure you're using the most recent version, you can always go to our website. And then you can see table of contents here. Most of our publications are interactive at this point. So if you want to go down to a section on what is a public record, you can click there. You can always go back to the table of contents. So that is an example of one of our publications. Going back to the search results, you can always clear your selections, and that will take you back to your original search term. So I'm going to clear the results here. We're back to 871 search results, and I'm going to show you one more example, which is our sample documents. So our sample document library, we have almost 4,000 sample documents from local governments around Washington State. And these are examples of policies, procedures, ordinances, job descriptions, bidding documents, all sorts of stuff that have actually been adopted and implemented by local governments, and we are sharing them broadly across the state as examples. So I'll click on sample documents here, and you can see we have 92 of them. Because we have so many sample documents in our library, again, almost 4,000, we also allow you the ability to drill one level further down and select what type of sample document you're looking for. So you can see examples here of, this first one is an ordinance from the city of Woodland. For all these documents, you're going to see a title, you're going to see the jurisdiction, you're going to see the year that it was adopted by that jurisdiction, and most of them provide a brief summary that gives you a little bit more information about what this document is, just to try to give you an idea of, is this the sort of thing that you're looking for or that you would be interested in? And all of this information, the titles, the descriptions, these are all added by MRSC staff members to, try to help you find what you're looking for. You can see this is a job description for a public records assistant, but let's say that you were looking specifically for public records policies. You can select over here so you can see different types of documents, contracts, fee schedules, job descriptions, ordinances, policies and procedures, bid documents. So I'm going to click on policies and procedures. And so now with 2 clicks, we've gotten down from that initial list of 871 search results down to 39 policies and procedures that talk about public records. So this first one you can see is Public Records Act rules from the city of Snoqualmie from 2024. Again, a brief description. And so I'll click on this one just to kind of show you what most of our sample documents look like. So this is a PDF document that is actually housed on the MRSC website. So you can see in the URL bar, we're still at mrsc.org. We actually save copies of these documents to our website for a couple of reasons. It allows us to manage the information more easily, to prevent links from breaking. So, the city and county website domains change sometimes, or documents get moved around, or various sorts of things. So this allows us to keep examples kind of readily available, and then it also allows us to add that information that I was showing earlier in terms of some of the titles and descriptions to give you a bit of information about them. So in this particular case, you can see we have a resolution to start. You've got all the whereas statements, and then you get into the exhibits and really the meat of the Public Records Act policy. So again, this is the actual policy that was adopted by the city of Snoqualmie. So that is the search results. The other option is to browse the website. And so this can be a really useful option too if you're just kind of trying to figure out what information we have, or as Melanie mentioned earlier, maybe you're newer to your position and it's the sort of situation where like you don't know what you don't know and you just kind of want to browse and get up to speed. So this is where the browsing comes in handy. So I'm just going to work my way from left to right here. Going to start with the research tools. You have one more option here to use the Ask MRSC service. We have the Ask MRSC archive. So I'll briefly show you what that looks like. Again, these have been anonymized. We publish one per week. It also goes out in our weekly Insights newsletter. So we're going to plug probably several times today that if you are not already signed up for our weekly Insights newsletter, I would highly encourage you to do so. That's where we share all of our important updates. That's where we share all of our blog posts. That's where we share these examples of Ask MRSC inquiries that we've answered. So the one that we have published this week is if someone requests town council meeting records as part of a Public Records Act request, what records would that include? And then if you click to reveal the answer, you will see what we said about that particular topic. You can also browse questions by topic area. So if you're looking for questions that we've answered on procurement or planning, personnel issues, elections, those sorts of things, you can always use that menu. We have a city and county website search. So the search that I just showed you is searching mrsc.org. This one's a bit different. This is actually a curated Google search that we have created that actually searches all of the city and county websites in the state of Washington. And so you can see there's one search bar here for city websites and one for county websites. So let's say that you work for a county and you are updating your critical areas ordinance, and you want to see, what some other counties have been doing or what sorts of resources they've been sharing on their websites. So you can search here, critical areas, and you'll see a number of results here: Clallam County, King County, Stevens County, Skagit County. So if you click on one of these, I'll click on Stevens County. This is actually opening in a new tab for me, and you can see we are no longer on the MRSC website. We are now on the Stevens County, Washington website. And here you're getting information on what they post on what are critical areas and some fact sheets and things like that. So this is a really useful tool, and we'll actually use it internally sometimes if we are doing research on a particular topic. So I'll close that out, go back here to the MRSC website. We also have city and town profiles. So this provides information on all 281 incorporated cities and towns in the state of Washington. They are listed here in alphabetical order. You can jump down to a particular letter if you want. You can expand the city name to get more information, links to their website, lists of city officials, municipal code, things like that. You can also sort this. So it's alphabetical by default, but you can sort it by population. So if you click on the population column here, you will now see all of the smallest jurisdictions in the state, and then it gets larger from there. If you click one more time, now it's showing you the largest jurisdictions in the state going down to the smallest. You can sort it by county. You can sort it by city classification, whether that's a code city, first class city, town, etc. And then you can also sort by form of government. So for cities, that would be either mayor, council, or council manager. We also have similar county profiles. There not as much information in terms of classifications or forms of government to deal with, but we do have information on the total population for those jurisdictions, links to the website, links to their county codes, budgets, other documents if those are available online. Back to the research tools. I'm not going to show you every single one of these tools. We don't have time to do that today, but I do want to kind of call out a few for your attention. So we have a local ballot measure database. If your jurisdiction is planning on putting a ballot measure before voters, and this database goes back about 15 years and has the results of all ballot measures, all local government ballot measures around the state, with the exception of school districts. School districts, OSPI, the superintendent's office tracks that information, but everyone other than school districts, we track that so you can see kind of how have similar ballot measures fared, perhaps. What other jurisdictions have submitted a ballot measure under this particular statute. We have the sample document library. This one I will show you. So I already showed you how to access that through the search. This provides you all of the exact same information. Again, just a different way of accessing it. So if I do, public records, and then you can search all sample documents, or you can narrow down by, the type of document. So if I search public records, policies and procedures, this gives you the exact same search results that I showed you earlier. So again, just a different way of accessing it. But one additional feature that can be useful here is browsing by document type. And so the example that I often use is job descriptions, where you might have very similar or kind of overlapping job descriptions in different jurisdictions, but they use slightly different names for those job titles. So if you browse these, you will see a list of all the documents that we have in alphabetical order. And so here you can see various sample job descriptions related to accounting positions, and then administrative positions, airports, animal control, and so on. And so for all of those, you will see again the job title. You can also sort if you want by date to see what are the most recent job descriptions that we have added to our library. And then you could also sort by jurisdiction if you were happen to be looking for documents from a particular jurisdiction. A couple other ones here. We have a tool if you work in procurement and contracting that's called Find Your Contracting Requirements. So it just asks you a couple of simple questions about, what is your procurement type, whether that's a, public works contract or a purchase of equipment, an architecture and engineering contract, those sorts of things. And then it'll ask you your agency type as well. And based on the information you give us, it will tell you what are your requirements under state law for bidding and contracting for those particular procurement types. If you work in utilities and you have an issue with non-payment, we have a utility liens and shutoffs tool this one's a lot more complicated, a lot more questions to answer, but it'll ask you, what's the type of utility and what type of agency are you, and will lead you through step by step to figure out, okay, can you impose a lien? Can you shut off service under various different types of situations? And then we also have links if you just kind of want to go and do your own independent research. We have links to city and town codes, county codes, and then going to the state website for the RCWs. Those are the state laws, the WACs, which are the administrative rules, and then court decisions. Next up is the Explore Topics section of our website. So this is the section that some people have compared to kind of like Wikipedia for local governments. So this is where we have really a lot of the meat of our website content. And you can browse by topic area here. So again, you could search if you wanted to, but if you're looking for information on, related to what we have for finance and budgeting or personnel issues, planning, procurement, community engagement, all sorts of stuff, you can do that here. So I'll click on personnel and HR, and this lists all of the topic pages that we have related to that particular topic. So you can see a number of them relating to hiring and the beginning employment process, information on compensation, benefits, and payroll, overtime, minimum wage, payroll administration, things like that. Leave laws, employee rights and protections, the list goes on. So there's just a ton of information here. We have about 360 of these topic pages. And then the, similar if you want to take a look at planning related ones, we've got growth management, we've got specific plan elements, we've got subdivisions, lots of information. And then if you want to, sometimes you might not entirely be sure even what category should I look under for that? You can always view all of our topic pages in alphabetical order. You could also search. But this will list everything that we have, and I'll show you one of these topic pages just to get an idea of kind of what to expect. So it's going to be different for different topics. Some of them are quite long. Some of them are kind of short. Some of them are heavy on the law and state statutes and court decisions. Others of them there's not much law to go off of, and it's mostly based on policy. So I'll click here on accessory dwelling units, and you can see we had the state legislative session that wrapped up a few months ago, and that's always a big process for us every year, incorporating new legislation into our existing content. So you can see here we try to notify you when there has been new legislation that might impact this particular topic. You can see here information on a House Bill 1345 that addresses accessory dwelling units, along with a note that we're going to update this page soon to reflect the new legislation, but we have a link to that bill if you want it. And then you can see here in this case information on what is an accessory dwelling unit, statutory requirements. Then you get into the policy element, examples of codes and programs, short-term rentals for accessory dwelling units, and so on. So again, you can click on any of these sections, go straight to them, and then there's also a back to top button at the bottom of all of our web pages that'll take you right back to the top of the web page, as it says. So that's Explore Topics. Stay informed. So this is where you can see our most recent blog posts. You can see, again, one that we published this week on metropolitan park districts. We've had a couple of them recently on local governments and data centers, which has been a big topic in a number of jurisdictions. One on a recent court decision on accessory dwelling units, so you can access those there. MRSC e-newsletters, I did see a question come in the Q&A about how to sign up to receive the email newsletters. That would be here under Stay Informed. We do provide brief descriptions down here of what are the newsletters. So Weekly Insights is our main one that goes out on Thursdays. So today is Wednesday. So if you sign up today, you will get your first one tomorrow. And then we also have a training newsletter that goes out roughly once a month. It kind of fluctuates a little bit depending on what trainings we have coming up and how many of them, any special training events, that sort of stuff. And then we also have quarterly newsletters that are sent to some of the special purpose districts based on our contracts. So that's public hospital districts, transit agencies, port districts, and then interlocal agencies, which are agencies that would be created by more than one unit of local government. So if you're looking to sign up, you just click this sign up button, and that'll take you to the form, and you just fill out your information, select which of the newsletters you want to get, and you'll be good to go at that point. Again, links to our, some of our in the news items. Really, all this stuff is sent out through our Weekly Insights newsletter. We also have trainings, as Melanie mentioned. So we have quite a lot of upcoming trainings that we do, combination of live webinars like this one today, some in-person workshops. Some of them are multi-day in-person workshops, like our finance boot camps that we do from time to time. So you can see a list of upcoming trainings here that we have. So we have some coming up on open public meetings, bars coding, data centers, public records, climate plans, lots of good stuff there. And then on-demand webinars, Melanie mentioned this earlier, so this is how you would find those. These are webinars that we conducted live at one point in the past, and we've recorded. Some of them are available for credits, some of them are not. But you can see, again, based on topic area, you can see our most recent webinars if you're trying to see what you've missed recently. If you're looking for finance or economic development, ethics, things like that, you can see the webinars that we have available on demand, and you can register for them. And then we also have an on-demand e-learning course on Public Records and Open Public Meetings Act for elected officials that we do in partnership with the Association of Washington Cities. Publications. So I showed you an example of this earlier with our Public Records Act publication. These are longer PDF documents that you can download, you can save, you can. Some people print them sometimes, and will even include them in agenda packets if you have a particular topic that you're working on. So we've got about 20 or so of these publications. Some of them we have been shifting to more of an online format, just as for a variety of reasons I don't need to get into today, but just there's a lot of changes going on there. But we have our most popular ones listed here. You can see we just published a couple of weeks ago our 2027 budget suggestions. This is a document that we publish every summer at the end of July, beginning of August, for those of you who are involved in budgeting. That provides information about statutory budget deadlines for cities and counties, new legislation that might impact your budgets, and then a lot of the publication is state shared revenue estimates and projections for some of those revenues that the state does share with cities and towns and counties. So that'd be things like, some of the liquor revenues or gas tax, criminal justice revenues, those sorts of things. We have publications on annexation. We have several of them related to procurement, bidding, contracting, local ordinances, public records, public meetings, revenue guides if you are looking for how do you fund particular programs or what are the ins and outs of property taxes and things like that. Revenue guides would be a great place to do that. And then if you want to see the full list, you would just click view more and you're going to see a list of all the publications there. And then finally, you can learn more about us. So you can learn more about MRSC as an organization, what we do, what some of our history is. You can learn more about our services that we provide. You can learn more about us as individuals and our staff directory. Get information if you want to, reach out to somebody specifically. And then we also have the ability to contact us. You can also use the contact us button at the top of every page on our website. So if you have a research question, something that would fall under the Ask MRSC category, we ask that you use the Ask MRSC submittal just to kind of keep everything straight. But if you have, other issues that you want to contact us about, that might be, maybe there's a broken link that you are trying to access on one of our web pages. We have systems in place where we go through and we try to make sure that those are all up to date and that the links are working. But with so much information, there's links breaking every single day on our website, I guarantee. So if you come across that sort of situation, feel free to reach out, let us know. We'll try to get that resolved. We can usually get that resolved really quickly for you. If you have sample documents like Melanie was mentioning, we really love hearing from local governments out there who are working on these issues in the field, and really gives us some very good and valuable feedback. So again, love to hear you. Don't hesitate to contact us. So that brings an end to the website demo. So going to turn it back over to the slides here. And I want to say just a few words about artificial intelligence before we wrap up here. So this is a topic that I'm sure many of you have been already using or maybe experimenting with, or even if you haven't been, probably thinking about it. So we do have a number of resources available. We have an artificial intelligence topic page. We have several on-demand webinars that Melanie has mentioned. We've got blog posts that have delved into particular aspects of AI. So, for example, AI and public records considerations, things like that. And then we also have a number of examples of AI policies in our sample document library from Washington State and a few from beyond Washington State as well. We have been using AI internally, particularly for research assistance. So we have, for example, a database with tens of thousands of these Ask MRSC responses that we've answered over the years. That's a lot of information. Sometimes it can be a little difficult to find what you're looking for. And so we have been experimenting with and using some of those tools for finding information. But we still always review that information, any of the responses that you're going to get from MRSC, any of the content that you're getting on our website is still written and reviewed by MRSC staff members directly. So we're not just plugging stuff into AI and copying and pasting it out there for you. And I do want to encourage people, again, always check those AI citations. Sometimes AI gives really great results and great citations, and you're good. But I've also seen plenty of times where chatbots have incorrectly summarized things, particularly when you get into some of those legal questions or nuanced questions. Or maybe, where it depends on certain facts or might depend on the agency type. Sometimes there's a little bit of a different answer depending on if you're a county or a city or a fire district, things like that. So always check those citations, always, take it with a grain of salt, and then always refer to MRSC's guidance, because I have seen times where chatbots have incorrectly summarized our own guidance and it'll say, oh, MRSC says such and such, again, especially on some of those nuanced topics. And it's like, that's actually not what we have said and could lead you to the opposite answer of what we have said. So just want to encourage people to do your due diligence when you're using those tools. And I'll turn it over to Melanie to wrap it up here.
All right. Thank you, Steve. And I'm waiting for technology to catch up with me here really quick. But for as I'm waiting for this slide to advance, I just want to say we are going to move to questions here in a moment. And so make sure if you have some, you're putting those in the chat. Um, but just very glad that you've joined us to learn about MRSC services and resources today. Even though sometimes we're talked about as a best kept secret among local governments, we hope that you will join us as a partner in spreading the word. We do not need to be a secret. The most common way that people hear about MRSC or learn about us is word of mouth. So if you have folks on your team who are newer, then please make sure you're sharing with them what you've learned today, encouraging them to sign up for the newsletter. In fact, there's some jurisdictions, and we're hoping it'll be more in the years to come, that include an MRSC overview in their onboarding processes on day one. So connecting folks with those resources right away. Here's the preview of a couple of trainings that I mentioned. So you'll see that we have one coming up here on August 25th on preparing for large data centers. I know it's been an important topic in a lot of communities. We have one of our very popular municipal finance boot camps in Spokane Valley that's featured. And then the final one there is about turning distrust into productive dialogue. So we have heard a lot of people talking about civility and some of those topics and how they're impacting their work. So those are all coming up that you can join us for, but I think we have 10 different trainings available online right now. And just as a reminder, I hope you can take a moment right now to open up a website tab for mrsc.org/e-news if you'd like to sign up for our e-newsletter today, or use that QR code to pull that up on your phone so that you can be sure to subscribe. And with that, I'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Steve, one of the questions that you probably saw in the chat was about how we can sign up, how someone who wanted to sign up new employees for the e-newsletter, so not signing up themselves. And I know you've done a lot of work on that. Is that something, can you sign up other people for the e-newsletter, or can you just provide them the link and encourage people to sign up?
That's a good question. So I showed you where to sign up, but I think you could do it both ways. I have not personally tried signing other people up for it, but I don't see any reason that you couldn't do it. You'd have to enter them one at a time and sign one person up, and then go back and do the process over again with the next person, that sort of stuff. So that would always be an option if you have a new employee or something like that, and you want to get them right off the bat receiving these materials. You could do that. The other option would be to send them a link and have them sign themselves up. So those would kind of be the two options there.
Thank you, Stephen. I know I've had people ask me before, hey, does MRSC just sign people up when they're newly elected to office or new in local government? And we don't. We don't sign anyone up for our e-newsletter. We want to make sure that people can opt in. So
yeah, I don't think we're allowed to
yeah,
to do that.
yeah. And then we had a questions about districts that contract with us. So this is probably our special purpose districts. And that I think this is about the school districts. That was an earlier question, and partaking of those services. So would welcome, I have contact information on this slide. So specifically for the school districts question, would encourage you to email me. And I think that's a more in-depth conversation than we can cover here. So please do take a moment to take down that email. I want to make sure that you get a full answer to that. We had someone that asked, is there a recommended follow-up orientation for brand new members, or orientation webinar for brand new members? And I don't know of one, but Steve, you've been with MRSC longer than me. Is there something specific that comes to mind for you?
Just in terms of MRSC in general, or we don't. This is the main webinar we do. We do it twice a year, so usually August and February. There if there are particular topic areas that you're working on, then I think it kind of depends on what those topics are. We do have some that we'll do cyclically or periodically. So I would say take a look at our training offerings and see what we have that might be of interest. But no, there's not like an immediate like after this go watch this other thing.
Thank you for that. And I know that there's some topics that are, great for people who are kind of new to local government or new to their role. So public records, Open Public Meetings Act, some of those things, we do have some good on-demand offerings. We had one question in the chat about how MRSC is funded because the services are free to use. I'll try to do my short version because I also want to be respectful of time. So we receive some core funding that's specific to cities and counties, which is why they're automatically covered. So it is the tiniest sliver of local liquor revenues that city and counties have agreed that should go to MRSC services. And we really try to do right by those dollars. So conservative estimates, we provide $3 worth of value for every dollar that's invested in MRSC. And that makes up just over half of our funding. We have some of our funding that comes through those contracts for services that go to special purpose districts, right? So it might be risk pools are often wanting to contract with MRSC to provide that Ask MRSC service to those agencies that are their clients, or there's some associations like the Fire Chiefs Association. We have an agreement with them and that they can offer Ask MRSC services to their members and their fire districts. So that's another proportion of our funding that's for these kinds of services that we've gone through today specifically. And then, of course, our MRSC rosters program is a separate part of MRSC's work. But that operates under a fee-for-service program right now. Yeah. So I think we are at the end of the
And
questions
I
that
just
I
wanted to
see
chime
in
in
the chat.
real quick. I see a
Yeah,
comment on MRSC and working on PRO. I believe that was a follow-up to the earlier question about training opportunities. We do have a number, because public records is a huge topic for us. So we do have a number of webinars and workshops on Public Records Act basics and then other resources. So we have quite a lot that will be on that particular topic, and we offer them with some frequency.
thank you, Steve. I appreciate you seeing that follow up and jumping in there. Um, And then just as we're coming to a close, we're always striving to get better. Continuous improvement is one of the values that we operate on under MRSC. So you are going to get a training evaluation survey after this. We hope you'll take the time to fill that out. It really does help us improve what we're offering to you and the value that we're providing. And also, if we have a question that you didn't answer today, you can go ahead and call us or submit your questions online. Steve gave you that great tour showing how you could do that. We just would love to be of service, and including on, we didn't cover rosters today. So if you had some more questions about rosters that are top of mind for you and those services, you can reach out to those through the website or by phone, and we're happy to answer those as well. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Please fill out that training evaluation survey, and all the best for the rest of your day. Thank you for all you do for communities across Washington State.
Yes, thank you.